it's time for another Energy Talk, and I'm very pleased to have you here. I'm here with Nataliya Redina, and she works as a psychologist, resides in Haarlem with her own practice, and she uses the cognitive behavioral therapy method to guide her clients. And we will speak about high sensitivity, about being oversensitive, about being sensitive and traumatized, but also about what her expertise is, and that you help expats with all the emotional challenges that they see in their process. And we will hear all about your drive in life.
Thank you for inviting me in this wonderful context. Thank you for giving me space to share my expertise, my point of view. It's, as we said before, it's all subjective, so it's a really honor to be able to express how you see things. Indeed, I am a psychologist. I work in and live in Haarlem for 2 years now in the Netherlands. So being expat myself, I really see how this affects the mental health of people changing environment in different levels. And this is how it's actually also bonding with your expertise on being sensitive, oversensitive, where I can see myself back in my childhood, and I can observe all this transaction from being highly sensitive to become a scientist. So it's also interesting to observe backwards. So thank you for your invitation.
As you know, I'm a coach and breath worker for highly sensitive people. I'm a highly sensitive person myself, and I was wondering if you are a sensitive person yourself as well, and like when did you recognize yourself as a sensitive being?
First of all, I want to thank you for this question, because this is something that I've never been asked before.
Mm-hmm.
And I never consciously reflected on that, although my answer will be yes and no at the same time. And if I may refer why I think yes, it's back when I was a child. I went to school in Ukraine, so it was really popular to give tests to children, to put them drawing, to analyze the drawings, and to make inferences about the general intelligence that children had. So in this test that I still have in my home, it's really interesting to have them so many years, I was tested as a highly emotionally intelligent child.
And how old were you at the time?
It was, I was 6 or 7. And afterwards, I even asked, because I was interested about this drawing, how these inferences came out of my drawings. So a few of the analyzers, they told me that I was drawing the eyelashes, or I was drawing the details on the nails, and this is something that highly intelligent children do. So they are going into really small details. Besides of that, I can recall myself to go around in the house and to healing my family. So I was touching my brother and I was telling him, now I heal you. Or I was really sensitive in terms of other people's emotions, so I could recognize, I could empathize. I was even remembered to discuss with my parents, like, hey, I feel that you are this way, what happened? Or I feel that something's bothering you, what happened? But of course I never replied.
That's interesting. So when you go back to your childhood memories, you consciously remember those moments.
Exactly. So then I will go to the no parts. Growing up, I guess after experiencing a traumatizing event in my life that really affected me, I totally turned my attention to the logic part. So I tried to understand, I tried to explain. I went in the university and I was highly committed to research, statistics, methodology, experimental and neuroscience. Everything that I could explain in logic was attracting me. And at the given moment, if I collect the feedback from my friends, from my close environment, from my workplace, people say like, hey, what a nice way of thinking, strategy, expressing your thoughts, cognitively analyzing something, but with emotions there is something not really developed. And like, so yes and no at the
Yes
same
and
time.
no. Yes, that's really interesting. Yeah, because in my practice, I receive clients who are going through, such a phase or have been through such a phase, and then when they, knock on my door for guidance, they're like, I've turned into this person because everything that I have experienced in my life, but I really do want to start accepting myself, including, the emotional part, the really sensitive part, the part in which I can detailedly, describe other people's emotions, but also what I see around me. And then, you have like different terms, right? In the world of being sensitive, you have the person who is highly sensitive person, or who sees him or herself as like within that description.
Mm-hmm.
And you have the term oversensitive.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So what is your point of view when you look at those terms?
Again, it's a really interesting question. So being sensitive, and I will put it in a way, in a social terms, means sometimes, actually the majority of the times, to be weak, to be less competent, to be out of control. So being sensitive, it's more and more going to the direction of being weak.
Mm-hmm. And being very chaotic, right?
Being
You're being like everywhere.
Exactly, being unorganized without specific direction, measurable results, KPIs, metrics. This is not about emotion. Although in psychology science there is ways to put these terms in metrics, but still, generally speaking, this is not something that we can put under the microscope. Being oversensitive, imagine socially not accepted, and be even in the extreme form of it. So in my science, we call this pathology. Being oversensitive is something that we are working on because it causes or deprivation in someone's life, or it's not accepted by the society. So there are multiple reasons why someone wants to treat that. But meeting you, it's really nice to hear that this is something that can actually add value in someone's life. And just going by logic, when something is not in proportion, emotion and logic, then we still have something pathological. We are human beings, we cannot just go to the cognitive part and abandon the emotions. There is a lot of wisdom there. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, so when I hear you speaking about that, I hear that, there's that part of being oversensitive. But when you consider yourself as a highly sensitive person, you can perfectly lead a normal life. But the way that you experience life is through your heightened senses. And that can enrich your life, absolutely, but there's a danger in that, and that is a challenge at the same time, to not overexpose yourself to different situations, social interactions, other stimuli for the senses, because a person can get into a phase of feeling disbalanced and disharmonious, overwhelmed. And you could also see that as, oh, you're being oversensitive, right? So there are different ways to look at it. But if you are aware of how you are as a person, you can strategize your life around it and live your your highly sensitivity at the fullest. But like how I see being oversensitive, for example, is when you have experienced something harsh in life, like for example a breakup, or changing of jobs, or moving to another country, which is your expertise, right? And then you come into a phase of being oversensitive because there's just an overload of stimuli and things to digest. So then from your expertise, it would be like something that you can treat, right?
It's something that we can treat together with the client.
Yes.
But the important and the really major ingredient is, in order to treat something, we have to decide that this is pathological. So we can have someone who is experiencing, he or she, really intensive emotions, and that's okay. So they receive joy from it, they see themselves like that, they identify themselves as a, I don't know, highly extrovert or highly sensitive. We have nothing to treat there. But when I hear therapeutic requests from my clients, so I have this uncontrolled worry, I am going out, I'm going on the streets of the Amsterdam, I hear the previous time, and it's so many people and so many voices and noises, and I become overwhelmed because I don't realize where I am, from a client who moved 2 weeks ago. So all our senses, they are going up for a reason. This reason can be considered as, let's manage it because it causes you harm, but it can also be a source of joy. The same person 2 weeks after relocating in Amsterdam can say, oh my God, I'm going out, there's so much life, so much stimuli, I enjoy so much, and I receive all this information. It's a dream. It's the same oversensitivity. In order to treat something, we have to agree that it's not causing pleasant feelings.
Yes, that's like the distinction that you need, right? From someone feeling oversensitive, but is it causing you joy or is it causing you harm? And if it's causing you more harm, then we can work on it together. Yes,
exactly.
Yeah. And how do you see it when, like, a person who defines him or herself as highly sensitive and is traumatized?
Trauma, and speaking about trauma, making a super fast distinction of intensive events can cause trauma to someone, and to someone else can be just intensive, challenging events. So trauma is quite subjective term, and it has its own characteristics in order to speak about trauma. Even relocation, even changing country can cause trauma. So trauma is a condition where I lose my balance, where all my senses wake up, where my cognition is confused, and let's put it this way, I'm a bit lost, I'm disoriented. And then of course I have some consequences of that in order to be diagnosed with trauma. Imagine a person who is sensitive experiencing this traumatic event, and all the senses, they are going even higher to the person who is already with increased emotional state. So we speak about an explosion, about a volcano of senses, stimuli, cognition, and then we have to cope somehow, right? So our body is made to keep us safe, and we have to navigate through all this volcano and all this tornado of information. So we develop coping mechanisms, and this can be I am reading other people's emotions in order to predict what will happen. I'm reading the room. I am overthinking to predict all the possible scenarios that may happen. I do mind reading. I know what you're thinking of me right now. I have no clue. I don't have evidence, but I know, because my emotion tries to find the logic in all what's happening to me.
So that could also be one of the symptoms of someone who is traumatized. And,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. We call it cognitive distortions. There are different ways. It's catastrophizing, it's reading mind, it's predicting the future. So we have different filters, and we put them on, and we try to make sense of what we see based on the trauma.
Mm-hmm. So you're working as a psychologist, and you're using cognitive behavioral therapy.
Exactly.
So where would you start when someone comes in with these symptoms?
Mm-hmm. Starting from the point who we were, who we are now, and what happened in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
The majority of the times, just to understand that there is a change and there is before and after, it's already cleaning the fog of the client to understand himself or herself. And the majority of the times, my clients say, I don't know, it's just happened, which it's not possible. So
just from one day to another, it just happens.
Yeah, it's just happened.
Mm-hmm.
So then I ask, let's recall the day you woke up and that happened, because this is not possible. And they said, yeah, I didn't, it was not actually, I didn't woke up. It was a car accident. And I started to think of da la la, 1, 2, 3, 4. Or it was a loss of someone that I loved, or a separation from a partner. So we start from understanding what is happening in order to clear the path and to see, I was in the point A, I'm in the point B, and I went through these stages. I guess that I see that it's the 50% of work. The other 50% relies on the question, and what should I do now?
Yes, yeah. And we talked about it earlier, that when someone comes in for help, and you help them, and some people, they want to be helped, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you come in with your reaction, which is,
I don't help you.
yeah. Yes.
Are you sure that you're a psychologist?
Yes.
No, I will not help you.
Mm-hmm.
So you will help yourself. And clients that come to me and I see that they want to see changes in their lives, what I openly say is that you will do a hard job. You have to invest time, effort, and sometimes even to challenge your own thoughts, your own emotions, until the moment this will become a new reality. My role is to challenge you, it's to guide you, and to stand by you. Generally, I'm not punishing people, I'm not bossing people. I want you to feel safe here to experiment with your own cognitive boundaries. And my role is to keep you safe, but to give you also direction. I cannot help
you. Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah, I think a lot of people need to hear that because, like, you know, most of the experience that we've had and which were harsh and in which we weren't listened to and which wounded us, you know, it pushes it pushes people in a victim role, right? And from that victim role, we are asking for help, you know, not knowing that, like, for a big part of how to feel better, it is our own responsibility to take the steps. Yeah, and you have a coach or a psychologist to stand by you in that.
One of my core beliefs, I really believe in the power and the strength of people I have in front of me. So sometimes even in the powers they don't even believe they have. So one of the main filters that I have as a therapist is to give you choice and to give you the perspective that you can go in the triangle of trauma. You can go to victim, but you can go to savior, you can go to healer. There are options. And the magic moment is the moment you take the responsibility for it. So taking the responsibility to go in the victim side, but consciously taking this choice, for me it's a choice. It's a respected choice. You will not do what I believe is right or wrong, but whatever you choose, it's a choice. So choosing to change, it's a choice. Choosing to not change anything in your life, it's also a choice. And I respect that, and I believe that it's a huge source of power to consciously choose where you want to be. And this can be anywhere, right? So I want to be in an abusive, which is subjective term, but still let's put it this way, a working environment. If it's my choice, I know for myself why I'm doing this. I stay there because I want to escape from from challenges in my personal life. For now, it's helping me, so I stay there. I know it.
That could be. And could that also be like an unconscious argument? Or for some people, it's a conscious argument. I'm staying here to avoid other challenges in my life.
Yeah. I will say that 90% is an unconscious decision. But then consciously, we say, yeah, I want to change job. I want to find something else. Oh, nice. Are you applying? No, I'm not.
That's right. What I often hear is that when people choose to stay in like an abusive relationship, either in their personal life or professional life, they think that they need to learn from it. I have heard this so often, like maybe I should stay here because I need to speak up for myself, and this is my opportunity to I'm looking at your face.
I have a lot of questions.
Like, okay, this dominant, egoistic manager that I have, well, yes, he resembles my father, so I know that, and I think I should now learn to defend myself and speak up for myself. And like most of the time, I think, oh, this is so draining. Perhaps you know, think about other options and situations in which you can positively interact with people and thrive. You know, that people like do see you as the person who can contribute on the work floor instead of like, okay, managing you and you just should obey all of my, requests.
I have a lot of questions. This requires a whole session. So I stay in an abusive environment, claiming that I need to learn from it. Then my question will be, okay, what you want to learn? 1, 2, 3. Because if I'm just staying, punishing myself day by day, I'm not really sure what you want to learn. We speak about another condition. So I want to learn to set boundaries. Okay, nice. Are you practicing this with your challenging manager? No, I'm not. Okay, so how you will learn? At which point you see I'm elevated, like my energy went up.
But you said something interesting. You said, why do you want to keep punishing yourself? Like many people, especially highly sensitive people, they go inward, right? Like when something happens, they start thinking it is their fault. And their inner critic starts criticizing themselves, start punishing themselves. So like that feeling and the thought related to that, like I am at fault here. That is like the core of all of their decisions that they make in life, and it keeps them in a situation which is negative for them. So I'm really interested in how you would go about that from like the cognitive behavioral point of view.
So just to separate it from the previous scenario, so when we discover that there is no actually goal to learn something because it's not a measurable point that I achieve and then I go from this abusive situation, then we go to the scenario that we speak about now, which is I have to stay here because this is what I deserve, because it's about me. I caused the behavior manager has towards me because I am not enough. I have to stay here because I don't deserve anything better and it's all about me. Then we are going in the cognitive cycle, as we call it, which is the cognitive triangle, which is my thoughts, my emotions, and my behavior. And we start to unwrap these values that they have nothing to do with who is your manager, what is the environment, which can be objectively abusive or not, but who you are in this, it's a highly subjective perspective, which is yours. And I will try to not make it confusing, but from the clinical perspective, if we deep dive in the situations, let's call them it's all about me, we speak about a highly egocentric personality. It's a paradox because when we speak about someone who is distressed and taking the responsibility, so I do everything wrong, it's quite challenging to see how this is an egocentric trait of personality, but in a deep level, this is how it works. So I want, unconsciously, I want the attention to be around me. So I switch the blame around me because this is a way to feel important. This is a way to feel seen. Oh my God, I messed everything. He was mad with me. He was so upset and this is all my fault. You see, I become present. I become seeing. If I tell you he was upset with his wife or she was frustrated because her child was had fever, suddenly you lose this extraordinary power on affecting people. And then the question is, what stays? What else you do in order to feel seen, loved, and valued by others? You see the connection, or
Yeah, but it's fantastic. Yeah, to use that triangle of thoughts, feelings, and behavior to go to the core of what is actually happening.
So we are going with the clients into observing.
Mhm.
My clients, they ask what to do, how to change, and I always say, how you approach a mathematical problem, how you approach it. Yeah, I read the text and I think what is asked from me to do. So first you read the text, you understand what is asked. You are not taking the pen just to try to solve the mathematical equation without understanding what's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't do it. It's the same thing.
That's a fantastic metaphor. Yes.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, it's definitely important to understand what is happening in this situation. Yeah.
You know, I had a pottery class. It was a gift from my partner
Mm-hmm.
because at some point I had a dream to become an artist. And he said, okay, try your skills and then you can decide. I failed. It was like everything was just like everywhere. But the teacher, he said a lot of things that I really kept in my mind. They really resonated with psychotherapy practice. But he said one thing and I use it in my practice. When you work with clay, it's not about how hard you try, it's about where to push. Specifically, gently, and precisely. I use it in my practice. So I create the map and I say it's not about moving pieces around, it's slightly make a small shift and the domino will follow and it will affect your whole life, your whole point of view.
Yes, that's exactly what you do as someone who guides and supports and coaches. Yes. Yeah, gently pushing up until something starts moving. Yes. Yeah. Well, you told me that your expertise is to help expats with everything that comes onto their path, you know, when they are moving from country to country. Like, what interests you most about that whole procedure, and what is, okay, maybe two questions.
Please.
Yeah, like the first question is, what interests you about the process of, you know, living the life of an expat, moving from country to country, and specifically, what are the emotional challenges that can pop up in that process?
So I'm expat myself. That's the first point. And before I became expat in the Netherlands, I was also an immigrant in Greece, where I was raised. So my parents immigrated in Greece when I was 7 and I raised there. So I have this culture of moving and not knowing what to reply in the question, where are you from? So becoming a psychologist, and in clinical psychology we speak about the moment of onset, about the event that started or triggered pathological, a challenging or disease, a mental health disorder. What more stressful than changing country for whatever reasons? What more challenging than changing country and losing your friends, your social identity, your profession many times, your inner identity, because we understand who we are based on our surrounding environment, based on how people see us. What more traumatic than losing everything and have to build them from the beginning based on what you remember who you are, because nobody is there to remind you, you have these characteristics, you have that, 1, 2, 3. Nobody's there. So you have to rebuild your resilience, you have to adapt in the new culture, and you have to protect yourself in order to not get lost in all these opportunities to become everything from the scratch. So I focus mainly on anxiety, depression, guilt, insomnia, relationship issues, and people are coming in my office and they say, we experience 1, 2, 3. So I ask, like, how long you experience that? The 99% of the cases, they say, when we came, it elevated, it escalated.
Mm-hmm.
So then we start to discover how it was in your country. Yeah, I had my friends, I had my mom, I had my work. Guys, what of these elements you bring with you here? Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And when I ask who you were before and who you are now, sometimes even the answer surprises themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a HR manager, I was a wife, and I was a daughter. I was a funny friend, and I was I don't know, the good neighbor. What of these qualities you bring with you? I have no idea. I'm unemployed, so I don't have a professional identity.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know my neighbors. I'm not the cute and good neighbor anymore. My mom, she's away, so I'm not the everyday seen daughter, and I don't know. And I'm something different from my partner. Who am I?
Yeah, your whole world actually collapses, and you have to build a new world, including a new identity, actually.
Exactly.
And it has to be combined, of course, with what you had previously known about yourself, but also what, like what type of person can you be in the country that you are. Like, I'm thinking of a friend of mine who is Mexican, and she moved to the Netherlands 2 years ago, and she practiced law, I believe, in Mexico, and she made long hours, like maybe 9 till 10, 11 hours of work during the day. She almost didn't see light of day during her work days. But apart from that, she grew up in Mexico, so she was exposed to a lot of sunlight. So when she came here and she met up with her Italian partner,
What a combo.
yeah, that's interesting. So he moved from Italy to the Netherlands, so they can be together here. And she's such an extraordinary lady because she has a university degree, but at the moment of arrival, she wasn't the person who had work. So her partner had a stable job, but she also went actually into a burnout because of her previous job in Mexico. Yeah, so it's like many factors coming together in a new country, right? So after maybe half a year of taking her rest and so on, she was thinking, I am here in the Netherlands and I don't speak Dutch, so I'm going to do something about that. And
well done.
yes, and in the meantime, I want to build up my work attitude or my mental capacity, to work again, because like work was related to stress. So she wanted to have like a new thinking about being at work. So she applied for a job at a supermarket, a Dutch supermarket, and started learning Dutch on the work floor with everyone. And yeah, it was such a huge challenge because at the beginning she said customers were angry with me. They didn't want to ask me for help because they noticed that I didn't speak Dutch fluent, but after half a year, after her being very persistent, she started building like people around her, even including the customers, asking her for help, complimenting her about her language. Oh my gosh, I think it's, such a huge victory if you are persistent, you know what to do, but she said so many times, I wanted to stop.
Mm-hmm. And that's a choice.
Yes.
She made a choice. She committed to her choice.
Mm-hmm.
She made a plan. She said, I am going from point A, I don't speak the language. I'm going to point B where I speak the language. The middle stages, it's just a phase.
Mm-hmm.
But if she went through this phase thinking, oh my God, I will never learn Dutch. People hate me. It's all about me.
Mm-hmm.
She's not reaching the goal.
Mm-hmm.
She's making herself comfortable in the belief nothing will change. And I cannot do anything to change it. Believe me, people can find comfort in that, even if it sounds paradox.
Mm-hmm.
My mom was saying, and I really like that, so people are so strange that they prefer to stay with the known demon instead of the unknown angel.
Oh, that's a beautiful saying.
And that resonates a lot of years in my mind, so we find comfort in all these situations. Coming back to the expat thing, exactly as I said, you're coming in a new environment full of possibilities. It's all your choice. It's your choice to try. It's your choice to fight. It's your choice to freeze. It's your choice to run away. And when you realize that there is these choices, behind the choice there is a lot of work. So we speak about your friend and we nicely say and admiring her about her courage, but every day
it was a struggle.
It was a struggle.
It was a fight, and she, like so many times, wanted to throw the towel in the ring. That's like a Dutch saying, like, I'm just gonna stop permanently.
Yeah.
Yes, but I think, in her case, she definitely had her eyes on the goal, but it was a day in and day out struggle.
Yeah.
Because next to all of the choices that you need to make, right, being in a new country and creating your new life, you have to have some kind of shield. You have to have a strong shield to be able to manage all these negative reactions of people not wanting you here. Even though you have like the best of intentions to rebuild your life in this new country.
It will sound harsh, and that's my logical part speaking, but what other people think, it's not their business.
Well, you hear that oftentimes in personal development. What others think is none of your business, and only listen to the people who are in your arena, the people who love you.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's not your business in terms of not listening or not being present or ignoring. I'm not speaking about that. But being aware that you cannot control or affect what other people believe or think, it's a strong tool for your self-development. I can hear any person who is not satisfied, who believes that I don't supposed to do that. I hear them all. I cannot affect it in any way. I cannot, even if I change based on the desire of somebody else, if they want to be unsatisfied, they will be unsatisfied. So take it vice versa. Other people don't have to care about what they think. And if we think that, me as a psychologist, I embrace people to make their choices. As a Natalia, I may not agree with these choices. It's not my business. And it's not their business to satisfy me. Sometimes I have clients that they want to be the best clients ever. Why my opinion is important for you?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we can have a conversation of 5 hours why it's important for you because there is reasons behind, but like speaking about the surveys, you didn't came here to satisfy the psychologist's opinion. You came here to make choices, even if I disagree forever with them. But when we speak about finding new identity in the new place, we are dealing with a new environment. We are dealing with the sensitivity or oversensitivity of our existence. So we are dealing with the elevated emotions. And then the other part is the fact that in a new setting, we cannot be the person we were before. Which means that if I precisely put down who I was in Greece, I cannot copy paste it and be the same person in the Netherlands. It's like a bizarre collage. So, besides of the fact to remember, you have to reinvent yourself, taking under consideration the environmental changes, the challenges, the opportunities. I will speak about myself. So, previous months, I ended my employment, my collaboration with a corporate environment, and I became full-time psychologist, which for many years I was doing in parallel. And I caught myself asking, oh my God, who am I supposed to report to? Who will measure my efficiency at work? And what will happen if I don't want to go to work? And am I doing a full-time job or I'm just doing my hobby? So questions that were popping up just because I have 20 years experience in a corporate environment.
Yes, but entrepreneurship, working for yourself, is like a continuous reinventing process. That's amazing. But I'm even going through that after almost 20 years of having my own practice, and I am now in that phase of having a graphic designer creating a new business card from the point of view of where I am now with my practice, how I am supporting and guiding highly sensitive people at this moment in my life. So it's a continuous process of how do you position yourself.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah, but you do position yourself, Nataliya, because I was about to ask you, what is your drive, besides running your practice, and what gives you a lot of energy?
I receive a lot of energy in meeting new people. I want to be out there. I want to listen. I want to see. I want to experience all this. The experience of being a human, of being different, of debating, of not agreeing, of seeing things in different perspectives. So I'm actively involved in being out there and to discover, like a little scientist, like what's that? Let's put it under the microscope.
And you bring your microscope with you.
I guess I cannot separate myself from my microscope. I'm like, hey, this is my subjective opinion, of course, but I see things like that. So it's really joyful for me to hear different perspectives. So yesterday I had an intervention in Amsterdam with colleagues, coaches, and psychologists. So I was discussing one of my challenging cases, challenging for me, And I had in front of me a lady that she approaches the psychology in a different way, more human-centric, more sharing her own feelings with the client. And I embrace more into, I give this space only to your emotions. So I'm a bit in the background. But the conversation we had, it was so fruitful about there is no only one truth. There is no only one size fits them all. So we will all be attracted by different people. We will all meet people that we agree, we disagree. So that gives me a lot of energy. I feel like my brain is like,
Yeah.
my neurons, like they are growing.
Yes, they have to be fed, right?
Yeah.
With new information, with
Exactly.
other perspectives, so you can form your own perspective
Exactly.
regarding to sharing some of me in sessions or not, and until like what extent shall I do that?
Some of my friends, they say, why you constantly disagree? And I'm like, I'm not disagreeing, I'm just bringing another perspective.
Or you're questioning the topic.
Yeah, I'm always like, yeah, but if this, if that, I'm like, just stop it. I mean, yeah, but it's interesting. I challenge you.
Yes, yeah. And you do that also as a mentor for women on their career path.
Exactly.
Yes. And what do you find in that area?
So coming from a corporate environment with being a psychologist at the same time, I was mentoring in Greece and supporting women to deal with challenges in the workplace or to re-enter labor market, how to create a CV, how to stand in an interview, how to ask to raise my salary. So like all these topics that, overgeneralizing, we as a women find quite challenging. And when I arrived in the Netherlands, one of the things that I started to search is like how to become mentor here about the same topics, because this is actually giving to me back energy and fulfillment. So I'm also mentoring in the Netherlands now. And the interesting part in that is that following many webinars or workshops, I hear many times that we speak about us, about women, as non-confident in the workplace, as blaming ourselves or apologizing too much, or being sensitive or being oversensitive, being emotional and all these kind of things, or not expressing our opinions, not setting boundaries. And I see myself in a slightly different direction. I'm like, no, we are confident. No, we set boundary. I don't understand.
But that's how you see yourself.
Exactly.
And that's what you would like to see to have applied, in all these different women.
As I told you, the example I told you before, when I apply for jobs, if I fulfill 1, 2, 3 criteria, it's my job. They will take me, they will hire me. And I hear a lot of times we say, yes, women, if they don't fulfill the half of the last criteria in the list, they don't apply for the job. And I'm like, ladies, why we do that? Let's do it in another way. So what it's really interesting and fulfilling for me is actually to combine these two. So the women I am mentoring, they bring more this uncertainty, this emotional component, and I bring in the relationship this belief, this confidence, and the fact that you can do it. I mean, boys can do, you can do it as well.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Yes, yeah. In that sense, you have, as you said before, like a male type of brain, you're like more practical, pragmatic thinker and a doer.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
I think so, and I believe for myself, the way I see it is I'm a real enthusiast of the possibilities. So it's really...
And that's not gender related.
Yeah?
Right? That's not gender related.
No,
you know,
it's not.
It's about, you know, an attitude, a feeling.
Yeah.
And you move from that feeling.
Exactly. But society has to categorize it. So in terms of communicating, we put it like a male way of thinking, but it's not about the gender, as you said.
Oh, I love that. Thank you. Oh, that's a wonderful perspective. I love that. Yeah, I fully agree with you.
So for me, it's like the DSM. So in order to diagnose, we don't put people in the boxes, but we have to communicate somehow. So in favor of communicating, we separate it into male brain, female brain. Although I face this separation in every day in my life, because I like strategy, I like to take like a pen and paper and to say like 2030, I will achieve that. Like this brings me joy. Or even the thought that, oh, I have the freedom to pack my backpack and to go in China and to start my life from the scratch. I can do it, practically nothing can stop me, right? I will not do it because I'm too tired of this movement.
No, you are fine now in Haarlem. Yeah.
Indeed. But the possibility that I can actually do it, it's really like my energy is going like, wow. So for me, everything can happen, but not by themselves. So you put effort, you make the action, and you see the reaction. So if we don't do something, we will not see results. If we do the same thing and we are desiring different results, there is something with the logic, there is something with the strategy.
How would you coach a woman on a career path who like apologizes way too much for everything she thinks and does? Because, you know, there's one part of coaching in which you like observe it and you give it back. But then there's the other part of that the woman needs to go and exercise it, you know, in practice, like not apologize or apologize less, just not. So what would you say to someone like that?
So first of all, we have to understand the cause, because if someone apologizes at work, it means that it's not only at work. So we have someone generally apologetic in the everyday life. So most probably she apologizes to the partner, to the children. Yes. So we define the cause and her core beliefs about herself. And then, as you said, we create small experiments, as we say. And we say, yeah, so how many times you apologize per day? I apologize every meeting. We have 3 meetings, so 3 times per day. You will apologize only in the 2. And then you will apologize only in 1. It seems or it sounds bureaucratic or too logical, but believe me, when we focus on that and we see and we reflect on how we feel apologizing less, it's a huge difference into going into emotion and being lost somewhere in the meanings. If you cannot intervene in the emotion, go for the action, go for the behavior. It will do the 50% of the job.
It will, yeah, it certainly does. I fully believe that. The new behavior will also give yourself the space to feel whatever arises regarding, you know, not apologizing and how you see yourself in that situation. So you really need to embrace that, like the negative feelings, but also like the positive feelings that will be like liberated through your new behavior. Yes.
Sometimes my clients, they wait for some dramatic change of behavior, and I'm telling them, just change this. Yeah, but what will change? We will see this small part, and then you see that everything is affected. And I'm like, yeah, but this is so small. Okay, let's start with this. They are coming next week. I couldn't do it. But imagine if we started from something big, it will just confirm your bias that nothing can change. And another part of it is the fact that when you change this small thing in your everyday life, in the beginning, it feels artificial. Because imagine that you are going contrary to your own beliefs and habits. So it feels bizarre, it feels awkward. But the more you do it, the more it becomes a new reality. And these moments of the beginning and like feeling bizarre, people usually stop and they say, it doesn't feel natural.
That's right, but it's not supposed to feel natural, because when I listened to you, a case of a client popped up, and it was like, okay, if I exercise this new type of behavior, I will feel so much fear in relationship to dying, like having a loved one pass away. So if I just continue my behavior, then possibly that loved one will not die within the next 2 or 3 months. But if I stop doing what I have been doing up until now, fear just erupts, and it's awful. It's not natural. No, it's the opposite of natural, but it's that stadium in which you want to be or going through to reach, the other side of it, like reach the goal that you have in front of you.
I may share one example from my life. One of the things that I experienced as challenges in my life, it was to trust in other people. Super simply, just the fact that they will do what they say that they will, not even going to deeper levels, just to be calm and safe, that the delegation I made, or if someone said, I will make this tea, that this will happen. So that was something that I worked quite a lot in the past. And it was my moment that I had to change something. And initially I was thinking that what I will change is to control other people and to micromanage them in order to be sure that this will happen. It just led me to more stress, more anxiety, insomnia, because you cannot have control on other people's actions. And then I went to the stage of I have to change the way I perceive the fact that something didn't happen. So I'm sitting on my couch, and my partner at that time, he was taking some pills, and it's the time for him to take the pill. He's out of home, and the pills are in my hands. And he didn't took it because it was not with him, like the package. So I call him, and I'm like, hey, how are you? I'm fine. Did you took your pill? Yeah, I did. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm holding it in my hand. My emotion went out of control. I said, okay, we speak later. So he's coming home and I don't speak. And he thinks like I just confirmed her non-trusting and her worry.
Yes.
So we sit down and I say like, listen, I am silent because I am processing. And my emotion leads me to start to think and to feel that whatever I say will never happen, people are lying to me, and it's all about lie, and like I really have this inner urge to start to ruminate this topic, but I consciously choose to tell you that I am not mad with you. I understand that I am asking you every day about the pills, so most probably you got stressed when I asked you if you took it, and you didn't want me to worry.
Okay, so this was your introduction.
Really?
Yeah. So no, like the whole story was your introduction when he arrived home, right? Okay.
Yeah. And I said everything what I'm saying, I told him, and I said at the given moment I am choosing to not jump into this overgeneralization. I am choosing to see it as a separate incident and to express my dissatisfaction only about that and not about your whole life or how the world is functioning. That felt so artificial.
Yeah, but it's such a victory to be able to manage your emotions like that within a relationship.
That felt so artificial. Felt so artificial. And I was reflecting on that, on the times that I was expecting something to happen. And I said, if it's not happening, then I can express my dissatisfaction about that fact. But if I start to predict that nothing will happen, nothing will be realized, it's a no, and it's my choice. He's taking his pills.
He's taking his pills. Yes, wonderful.
Yeah. So yes. It will feel artificial. It will feel contrary to the habit. It will feel challenging. But even these small challenges, they can cause a huge difference.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I truly believe that practice makes perfect. Although, you don't have to reach the goal of being perfect, but it's the process that you are going through in order to feel differently, and behave in the way that you want to behave in these challenging situations.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yes.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So, coming back to the mentoring part, how I try to contribute in the relationship of mentoring is exactly to show to women, because it's mentoring only for women, that they have the choice, they have the power, and they are the only responsible for how colleagues are seeing them. Mm-hmm. How they want to see themselves,
yes,
what goals they want to reach.
Mm-hmm. Go on, preach. Towards women, to empower them and to get them back into their core strength.
I will say that we have a lot of work to do, mm-hmm. because we are in I will call it an era that we combine two different cultures, let's put it this way. So generally, like our generation, let's put it this way, that we grew without internet, without mobiles, we were more traditional, like more this cliche, what women supposed to do, how men supposed to be. And look at us, so we were raised in these patterns, and suddenly technology, mobiles, globalization, universal marketing. I'm in the Netherlands, I'm freelancer, new competencies. So I have to reinvent myself and I have to break my barriers. So it's quite challenging because it's a rapid evolve. Mm-hmm. My mom doesn't understand what we speak about. Mm-hmm. She's like, wash the dishes. Yes. And that's fine, because for her, this is her boundary. Mm-hmm. Which actually my mom was not like that for her ages. She was, go study, you're independent. But for the sake of the example, our generation is uniting really different values in terms of gender differences. I really believe that the new generation will bring women leaders, women keeping the balance of emotion and logic. So women that they will be free of
expectations,
the fear of being not a mom in your 40s. So I really believe that it's coming.
It's coming.
It's coming.
Oh, that's such a positive point of view.
It's coming for the new generations.
And we are in the midst of it.
And we are in the middle.
Yes.
So we are a bit the hybrids, being raised in this condition and trying so hard to become like the new generation. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, thank you so much for this energy talk. I've enjoyed it very much. Thank you for your openness and having shared your stories from your psychological point of view.
Thank you for inviting me. It was really energetic.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.